Okay, let's talk about speed cameras. You know the ones. Few things can get a driver more fired up. So what's the real story? Are they a critical tool to keep our streets safe, or are they just a high-tech cash grab? Let's get into it. I mean, come on. Let's be real. Who hasn't felt that sinking feeling? You're just driving, maybe you're a little heavy on the gas, and a few weeks later, bam, that dreaded envelope shows up. It's frustrating, and yeah, it happens to a lot of us.
Well, that personal frustration has now officially boiled over into a huge policy debate. The Ontario government has actually announced it's planning to wipe municipal speed cameras off the streets completely.
So, what we have here is a classic showdown. On one side, you've got powerful public opinion, how people feel. And on the other, you have official public policy, what the data says. So, what's really going on here?
The official plan from the government is to get rid of the cameras and instead create a fund for other things, like those oversized flashing signs. The idea is to slow traffic down, but without hitting people in the wallet with tickets.
So, you have to ask, why make such a big move? Well, it really all boils down to one very powerful and very emotional argument that you hear all the time.
And that's the phrase, isn't it? Cash grab. You hear it constantly on talk radio, you see it in every comment section. For a lot of people, this is the absolute truth. The cameras aren't about safety, they're just about making money. And the logic they use is simple, and honestly, it sounds pretty compelling at first. They say, look, if these things actually made people slow down, the ticket money would dry up, right? The fact that cities are still collecting millions is held up as proof that the whole program is a failure. Okay, so that's the gut feeling argument, and I get why it resonates with so many people. But what happens when we tune out all that chatter and just look at the cold, hard numbers? Well, that's where the story starts to look a little different.
Let's start with this number right here, almost 25%. According to Transport Canada, speeding was a factor in nearly 1 out of every 4 fatal car crashes in the entire country. So this is way bigger than just a ticket. We're talking about a huge factor in whether people live or die on our roads.
And this isn't about some arbitrary rule, it's just straight up physics. The faster your car is moving, the less time your brain has to react. The distance you need to slam on the brakes skyrockets. Your field of vision literally narrows. Speed just fundamentally makes driving more dangerous. And what about that idea that cameras are just random gotcha traps? Well, the data shows that's not really how it works. Municipalities use collision stats to pinpoint the most dangerous spots in a city. It's why you always see them in school zones or on those streets that everyone knows is a problem. They're put there for a reason. And do they actually change anything? Let's take Mississauga as an example. In the zones where they put up cameras, the average speed dropped by 14 kilometers per hour. That's not a small change. That is a measurable, significant shift in how people are driving. And this isn't just a one-off. It's the same story pretty much everywhere you look. Toronto, Ottawa, even huge global cities like New York and London. The data consistently shows that when the cameras go up, speeds go down. So this really brings us to the core of the whole debate. It's a clash between two totally different ways of thinking about how we should run things.
On one side, you have decisions based on gut feeling. You're reacting to anecdotes, to the loudest voices, to popular opinion. On the other side, you've got decisions based on hard data, on collision reports, safety studies, and results you can actually measure and prove.
And you can bet the local governments are pushing back hard on this. They're calling it provincial overreach. Their argument is pretty simple. Hey, we know our own roads, we have the local data, and that's why we put the cameras there in the first place. But really, this is about so much more than just traffic tickets. This one decision raises a much, much bigger question about how we make choices. And this really gets to the core of the concern. If a policy that's backed up by all this evidence can be tossed out just because it's unpopular, well, what happens next? What do we do with other complex issues where the facts might be inconvenient, but the complaints are really loud and clear? So when you strip it all away, this debate is a test. It's asking us what we want to prioritize when we make decisions about public safety. Do we go with the clear, measurable facts, or do we go with the loudest voices in the room? And there's really no easy answer here, but it forces us to ask a fundamental question. Who gets the final word on how our streets are run? Public opinion or public data? Which one do you think should win out?